Welcome back, everyone. This is Rashad Woods with T.R.O.N podcast, The Randomness of Nothing. I've always tried to get intriguing guests on here, and today, all the way from the UK, I have Mr. Raj Khedun. He runs a very successful business. I don't want to overtalk him and his accomplishments. Thank you so much for joining me on the show.
You're very welcome, Rashad. It's great to be on T.R.O.N. What a great name, T.R.O.N. I mean, that's very futuristic sounding. Love that.
It's
Love
the
the film
randomness
world.
of nothing. It's the randomness of nothing. Appreciate you. So just tell us a little bit about your background real quick. I saw you, obviously, you have Keep Fit Kingdom, and you're also a managing director of Kung Fu Kingdom as well.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So it all stemmed from, if we go a little bit backwards, it all comes from my yoga background, because I actually studied yoga for 25 years, been a yoga practitioner for 25 years.
Which is so hard to do.
Well, there's many elements to it, right?
Yeah.
And if you want to tie in, for a quick sort of nugget of wisdom, Thai martial arts and yoga, Bodhidharma came from India to teach the Shaolin monks about yoga.
Yeah, right.
So a lot of people say, oh, well, Kung Fu came from China. Well, actually didn't. It actually came from India.
Right.
So yoga means to join. It means to join yourself with your source, which means your physical energy, your mental energy, your spiritual energy. So studying yoga actually gives you a broader perspective on everything else. So martial arts, health, fitness, and so on and so on. So I've studied yoga for 25 years. I've studied martial arts for about 10, 12 years in the Wing Chun tradition.
Right.
But I'm also a relationships coach for women as well for 15 years.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
So begin to kind of make all these things that combine, and you gain a lot from that. Yeah.
So how did you actually, create Keep Fit Kingdom? I went on the website. I was very intrigued by it. Like, there's lots of details. There's dietary, ways to help your gut health. And you're a vegetarian as well, too. So obviously health and wellness is at the forefront of what you do. So Can you just explain that, the company you founded and the success and how it's helped people?
Absolutely. So basically, as being a lover of martial arts, doing yoga, knowing about martial arts, growing up with people like, Jackie Chan, Jet Li, Bruce Lee, all these guys, you can begin to think like you study a bit of their life. You study Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee was very detail oriented. He talked about his diet, he talked about exercises, he talked about repetitions of certain weightlifting moves or whatever it is, pull-ups, push-ups, and so on. So I began to kind of investigate, okay, they had to study nutrition to get their calories in order, to get a certain amount of proteins, a certain amount of carbohydrates, and so on. And then they had to do certain exercises, almost like turn yourself into a robot, a machine. Like you do these things consistently every day, and you're going to get a certain result. So I wanted to combine a bit more focused understanding on nutrition, exercises, and then also martial arts. And then with the yoga background, it kind of just helps you have a bird's eye view of everything.
Right. So Keep Fit Kingdom, is it a facility? Because I went to the website, I researched everything, and I saw that it was obviously very data driven when giving information about nutrition, diets, food. Is there a location where people actually come and train to as well?
It's more online. It's more like an online resource.
Got it.
I think since before the pandemic, we had a lot more sort of front-facing clients. We had a lot of students who take interns from various universities around the world.
Gotcha.
So we still take them on. Yeah, but it's more now, it's all sort of more online. I think that model works better right now.
And it helps too, because a lot of people with their busy schedule, they want to be able to get the information when they can read it and work it and use it on their own. What I thought was most fascinating, I can't profess to have the best diet in the world, but you can never outwork a bad diet, right? So ultimately, when you want to see results, and kind of questions I want to ask, even kind of myself personally, you're big on gluten free. I have a close friend of ours who's me and my wife have close friends who are gluten free as well too in their household. Have you found out that what improvements have you seen based upon dietary needs when it comes in direct correlation with workout and fitness?
That's such a great question. That's a great question. What I did, I can tell you what I did from my experience, and then build in knowledge that we have from all the journalists and fanatics that we work with who are, fanatic about health and fitness.
Right.
I think one of the best pieces of advice I ever heard on this was actually from a yogi. Mm-hmm. And he said, find a simple diet that works and stick with it. So
Oh
he said,
wow,
find a simple diet that works and stick with it. Why? Everybody's physical constitution is slightly different. So,
absolutely.
some people have allergies to lactose. They can't digest milk and so on. Like Michael
Oh,
Jai White is also lactose intolerant.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Did not know that.
Uh, yeah. So you find what you do is you stick with the basics that work. And
Yeah.
if you eliminate most red meat and alcohol and stuff like that, you can live really good life, good physical constitution, and just to have a few variations of things. So if pasta works well for you, stick with that, or throw in your veggies and things like that. But
Right.
just find a simple diet that works for you, in terms of energy and having enough minerals, elements, vitamins, and water, of course. And
Right.
you'd be pretty solid.
That's awesome. So how did you get started? How long has the company been in business?
Uh, about 9 years now, 8 9 years.
Okay,
Yeah, I
that's
got
fantastic. And
2,000
I
hours.
saw that it grew really rapidly, and you have a lot of really good partners as well too. And so I was going on the site, and I saw that there's a portion called the Bliss method.
That's right.
Can you explain that? Can you explain that to me?
Okay.
It's the
Well,
first I've ever heard.
yeah. I mean, if you've got a few moments, I can kind of elaborate a little bit because this is
That's exactly what we're here for, So I would love to hear what that is.
okay. Great. Well, I'll drop a few knowledge bombs if it
Yeah,
helps.
absolutely.
Okay. And this is going to kind of stretch people's minds a bit because a lot of these things are not taught in the regular school system.
Right.
And some of the ideas that we talk about here, they're probably going to cause you to think and ponder a lot about
Right.
what you think reality is and who you are and what's going on in this world and why the change is happening
Right.
so fast. So basically, our team, we have a small team, very, very focused and very dedicated to health and wellness. So
Right.
over the last 7 years, they devised a method that helps to reduce stress, anxiety,
Right.
and insomnia by 50 to 60% in 3 minutes or less.
I think everybody would be great. You have my ears wide open right now.
Basically, it's something which is already existing in the atmosphere. This life,
Right.
what we call life energy or chi,
Right.
also called prana in the yoga tradition, it's surrounding
Oh,
us all the time.
okay.
But whether we know how to utilize it for our own benefit or not, it's a totally different question.
Right. Right.
Not taught in school.
So does it involve like breathing techniques, is sort of meditation? Because I think people get so far on the go and they don't know how to decompartmentalize what's happening at that exact moment. So if somebody's having a stressful day and you said they can reduce that stress in 50 to percentage wise 50 to 60%, how long, what's the time frame that they have to do this method for?
60 to 180 seconds.
Okay.
So
Yeah, a minute to 3 minutes. That's it.
yeah, one to 3 minutes. That's it.
That's okay. I'll tell you. Yeah, I mean, I have 3 kids, so I think that might be something I'm going to start taking care of because, yeah, I don't, it would probably be a very valuable tool for. So, real quick, I did have a question. Have you ever expanded? Do you have any international clients with your company? I know you're based in the UK.
We're always looking for that because we know in America they're more entrepreneurial driven. So
Right.
when they see a new idea, they're they are very enthusiastic to
Right.
make it available to people and
Right.
put the wheels in motion, advertise it, promote it, help people use it, and they're just very good at that, running with new
Right.
ideas. Whereas
Right.
perhaps other countries in Europe are a bit slow on that front.
I did not know that. I did not know. I've never been to Europe, so I'll take your perspective on that. It's something that's very interesting. So it takes a while for things to get traction when it's new to the market.
That's right. Because you have a lot of skepticism in Europe because I think we don't get as much sunshine as you guys do. So I think that has an impact on the mindset. You know what I
It
mean?
very well could. It very well could. I'd love to dive in that a little bit deeper as to how that mentality is shaped across the world. So obviously, we linked right away, got mutual when it came to martial arts. How did Kung Fu Kingdom? I mean, that is such a dope name, first of all, right? Because it makes me want to like run up a hill and do something like really, really like it does. Like just the name of it all, man, it makes me want to go run up a hill. So can you just explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So the mission of Kung Fu Kingdom is to help as many people understand the benefits of martial arts in terms of discipline, self-control, inspiration, and the long-term benefits you get from consistent daily training.
Right. Right.
So it's inspired by films such as, Jet Li's films like The Shaolin Temple,
Oh,
like
absolutely.
like Jackie Chan's Drunken Master, you know.
Right. 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 And
Yeah.
so is this a facility based situation? Do people, that you actually have, do people meet up? Is it, what is there different type of styles integrated with the Kung Fu Kingdom, or is that just kind of a name to bring people in?
That's it. Well, it was inspired. I think the name is really catchy, and Kung Fu
Okay.
is a globally recognized term. So
Right.
when we put like the kingdom idea together, it was like bring all types of martial arts from all over the world, whether it's Silat, whether it's Judo, whether it's Taekwondo, whether it's Hapkido, whether it's,
Yeah.
whatever martial art you want to put, we can put it all under the umbrella brand of Kung Fu
Right.
Kingdom and talk and feature
Right.
about it. So it's mainly online.
Yeah.
So they talk about, traditional martial arts as well as all the film and entertainment martial arts.
That's awesome. That's fantastic.
The raid films in Indonesia do incredible work there.
I'll never forget the first time I saw that movie. And I'm a big film guy, but I'll never forget a guy at work about 12 years ago was like, hey man, you got to watch this movie. You got to watch this movie. And I'll never forget, it was a Friday night, right? Iko Uwais and them, I'd never heard of the movie. And I'm pretty good at knowing movies. So I'm sitting home on a Friday. And I mean, I would have been like I was 5. I'm screaming in the house at like 9 o'clock, saying words I can't really say right now. Like, what did I just see? I had never, like, I'm a big martial arts fan. All these guys are talented. That movie was different. That movie was different. That had been probably since like Ong Bak that I had seen something like that, or The Protector.
Yeah.
It was, I still don't know how people survived making that movie. It looked like, I'm like, these guys got hurt. These guys got hurt. It was amazing.
Absolutely.
And then the second one, you're just like, oh, I think you could outdo the first one. The second one was like Godfather 2.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, these films are like the ultimate Friday night or Saturday night, film in
God.
terms of action film. Just bonkers.
I still watch the kitchen scene all the time, like all the time, because I'll be like, it took, that thing took 10 days to film, right? And then they'll superimpose the videos of those guys training doing that. And I don't want to butcher the name of the other 2 actors. One of them's a teacher who, because those guys were in John Wick, I want to say 3. And you're just like, the speed of these guys, the speed, the
Yeah.
precision, it's nothing short of amazing. So
Yeah.
to go down the martial arts wormhole is, to people who know what they're talking about, it's so beautiful. It's a wonderful thing, and that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Being
Yeah.
on a call like that would be an honor of mine. Just like, even if I just
Absolutely.
listen,
I know
listen.
that the guys you're talking about, we've interviewed them before as well. So we've interviewed
That,
Eco, we've interviewed Cheshep Rahman, and we've interviewed
yes,
Gayan.
that's
Yeah, these are the guys.
right.
Yeah.
That's still so dope. So you said, so you've taken, I obviously I want to just talk about just business. I want to talk about you too. So you've taken Wing Chun. You took up 12 years ago, and you're already in yoga. Were there people who were in martial arts that were in yoga that were like, okay, I want to try this too? How did you kind of gravitate over to the martial arts world?
To answer that question, no. There were not many people who are
Yeah.
into yoga that got into the martial arts, or people who were in martial arts who went into yoga. As far as I was aware, in the Wing Chun circles, I just like to learn.
Right.
I just
Same
like to
here.
learn.
Same here.
I just like to expand the mindset and see, like, if you know Myron Golden. Myron Golden's a great teacher on YouTube. He teaches about the Bible and business.
Okay.
He says what I do, which surprises everybody, is I connect the dots on seemingly separate subjects and bring them together.
Like some 6 degrees type stuff, right?
Yeah,
So right,
exactly,
right, right.
exactly. So
That's awesome. That's awesome.
that's what I like to do,
So
just bring it all together.
yeah, no, that's. Are you certified? Nutritionist, personal trainer, anything in that regard? Based
Well,
upon what you've got yourself into.
I think the interesting thing is I work with a lot of people who have all of these qualifications
Right,
and degrees and so
right.
on. So I myself am more of a connector. So
That's awesome.
you
Right.
know what I mean? I connect these
You know how to
people
put all
together.
the people together based upon their similar interests and everything like that. And so, a lot of times people have operated in their own separate worlds. Like for a long time, this is kind of separate. People, dentistry has not been around as long as being a doctor, right? Because a lot of times people didn't connect the mouth to health. So similar to what you do, you're like, hey, let's get the nutritionist, with the yoga together, and let's marry up the two and get these people
Exactly.
in a similar world for all about wellness. No, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot because you know I'll be the first to admit, I practice martial arts, but I have a very, very somewhat okay diet, but I always revert back to my, you know, eating good all the time. It's not hard, but it takes a level of discipline,
Yeah.
right? And you have to be all in. You can still have your cheat days, but you have to be consistent. And I think that's one of the things that challenges the everyday average person who has a busy day, etc. So, what tools does your website provide to people to find that consistency?
That's a great question because when we talk about health and fitness, to the ordinary person who doesn't maybe fully understand how important it is to be healthy and how to, integrate that as a part of a lifestyle, you have to be motivated to want to change anything. Otherwise, it's not
Of
going to change.
course, of course, of
So
course.
what we realize, as much as we all love training weights or martial arts or gymnastics or whatever it is, we understand the human component of the mind, the heart, the spirit to be able to motivate yourself daily to take consistent action. It's the only way you're going to see real enduring results that you'll actually
Right.
enjoy and appreciate, and your family as well.
Well, it's funny you say that because as much as I had worked out and much as I had lifted, until I actually I got so obsessed one time I started measuring all of my food. And I don't think the average person, if you actually like calculate your calories in the morning of what you've eaten,
Mm,
you've already blown through 2/3 of your day of what your calorie allotment should be. And it's such an eye-opening experience. You're like, oh my God, this is terrible. Your sodium intake's already blown through, that first breakfast that you had during the day. And so people sometimes don't believe until the data is right there in their face, staring that at them. But that's what it kind of took for me. I'm not going to say I do that every single day, but the best results I saw personally was when I cleaned up my diet as opposed to working out all the time.
right, absolutely. You need to do a bit of everything, and yes, if you
Right.
can hold yourself accountable or have an accountability partner or a personal trainer that is, sympathetic to your goals and wants to
Right.
see you succeed. That's a great way to build and ingrain the habit into your mindset.
Now, have you found that people are more receptive when it comes to an online function as opposed to in person? Because it seems
Uh,
like you're online, and it seems like people, you can do Zoom meetings, you do calls with them. Does that seem to resonate with people a little bit better?
that's such a great question because I'll answer that in a way that's maybe slightly unique, if I may. I'm drawing
Absolutely.
upon years of research, of yoga, of mindset, of psychology. Right.
Right.
So, and I'm going to add a dash of metaphysics in there as well,
Yeah.
just to make it
Yeah.
even more
For
intriguing.
sure.
Try to give a complete answer. So basically, you get some people who don't need that much pushing. They don't need that
Right.
much motivation. They just need some reminders and someone just to hold their hand a little bit.
Right.
But some people who have never been around people who are go-getters, who are forward driving, who have goals, who have energy, drive
Right.
towards
Yeah.
achieving things, they need sometimes people to be around them to lift their energy up.
Absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
if in your house, in your home, your family was quite sedentary and they didn't do sports or they didn't work out, you're always going to feel like you're in a slump whenever you're with them because they're not raising their energy, so you don't feel
For
like doing
sure. For sure. Yeah. Yeah.
it,
Definitely. Definitely. Right. It's almost like when that person who comes to the room and kind of blows up the place with their energy. It's very organic and magnetic.
Correct.
Right? It really is. It's a magnetism to it, and
Correct.
that's very fascinating. I'm shocked, and I say this very respectfully, that there's not an app for Keep Fit Kingdom because I think that like because the website's dope, and I'm like, even though I'm an ocean across, it's like we're next door talking right now. I think it'd be so great if there was an app for people because I think that as far as the reach that you've had, and you don't need to take advice from me because you're doing phenomenal without me, right? But it'd be dope if there was an app.
Yeah. I think that there is an exciting kind of curve coming up, which is why
Mhm.
our team are focused on the wellness aspect. If I can touch on that for a moment.
Of course, of
Yeah.
course.
Okay. So
Absolutely.
basically, we realized that health and fitness, especially wellness and emotional wellness, these
Mhm.
things are becoming more and more important in society.
Unquestionably, unquestionably,
Because if you think
unquestionably.
about all the women that I coach, whenever I hear about the problems, it's endless problems, and they don't get on with men, they can't communicate with men, and there's a mismatch of understanding. It's crisscross like this all the time.
Right. Right.
Now, if you were able to do a very simple breathing method that harmonized your brain, left
Yeah.
side and right side together,
Right.
and harmonize your mind and your heart together, you would be in a constant state of peace and flow.
Right.
Our method helps do that, and it helps far more people than just those who want to keep fit or just those who want to smash a personal best in a lifting a weight.
And that makes a lot of sense because you want to help somebody's lifestyle and their actual long-term well-being, as opposed to I'm going to get fit for 6 months because I'm going on holiday/vacation, or I need to get in shape for this wedding,
Exactly.
or I hit 40 and I need to take off this XYZ amount of pounds.
Exactly.
Because and I think most people can attest to this, is that, as particularly men, we focus very much on the external. Do I have, bulging biceps? Do I have abs, triceps, etc.? Oftentimes, and what I've read is that when you talk about the emotional, I don't know how it is in the UK, but in the US, they talk frequently about male loneliness, right? Once men get of a certain age, their circle gets smaller and smaller to the point where they have nobody they can actually talk to.
Right. Right. That's true. And a lot of this, if we can have that kind of expanded angle of conversation or dimension of conversation, it should really be taught in the school system first.
Of
It
course.
should be taught in school. It should be reinforced at home, and then people would grow with a nice, comfortable, or let's say a support network, even into their
Absolutely.
latter
Sure.
ages. Now, we feel very sorry about this, that because people are not internally connected, they don't feel externally connected. So everything
Right.
happens on the inside. You as a martial artist would know this. Everything
Right.
happens on the inside first, and then you manifest outwardly what you are inwardly.
No question. No
Yeah,
question. And the best part about martial arts, and this, who you are will come out when you're in there.
absolutely.
Whoever you are, whatever style you take, who you really are, at some point, the real you will come out. So
Absolutely.
if you get frustrated quickly, you're going to get frustrated quickly. If
Absolutely.
you haven't taken care of your dietary needs, it will come out when you practice martial arts. Everything that you are or aren't will be revealed in there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll share a small knowledge bomb with you, if I may.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So this is going to be interesting. This could create a bit of a stir, and hopefully it will be a positive stir for positive change, because some big changes need to happen in society globally. So one thing is, first and foremost, taking this atmospheric energy. It sounds crazy, but this chi, this life force, when you take it into your system, you can actually boost your immune system and your nervous system. When you can immunize yourself from most airborne viruses, illnesses, negative influences, whatever, you will feel a sense of peace and protection that you probably never felt before.
Right.
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 So there's that. And it helps people feel naturally well without external aids of medicine and even doctors or therapists.
Right. Right.
It's a
I've heard
question of,
that before.
yeah,
I've heard that before. I've heard that. I had an interview with a gentleman that was getting over cancer, and he still has. It's been in remission. He's doing all. But one of the things he found out, that the more he was peaceful and positive thinking, and it relates to that. And I don't know if it's obviously not your specific method, but your mentality and how you actually adhere to your energy, and that positivity can help you through very trying moments. And
absolutely.
I think that for me personally, and I can say this, you can go a very long way, because all of us have suffered losses and tragedies. But when you focus on the good and the light in the situation, and you do some of the methods that you talked about, even just a quick 10-second breathing and getting your expelling that quote unquote bad energy, it does help. It really does. It really truly does.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think if everyone knew that what you think, is taught to you in school is just oxygen or whatever,
Oh
it's
my
not.
goodness. Oh my goodness.
It's three things: light, electricity, and magnetism.
Right.
Right. And when you pull this into your nervous system and your immune system, it's craving for that expansion of being,
Sure. For sure.
literally. And if you know how to use a particular sequence to use it to release dopamine, serotonin, which are feel-good hormones, as well as endorphins from your brain.
Right.
It's
Right.
it's a total game changer.
I'm going to be researching your website a little bit further. Like I said, I got stuck down the wormhole on it for about, half an hour. I was like, oh, dietary, ooh, martial arts. I'm like, oh, what about? I'm just like, it's just because I just felt that positive energy of reading about what you like are the things that interest me on a day-by-day basis, which is fantastic.
Awesome.
Obviously, I'm very respectful of your time. Did you have anything you wanted to leave? First of all, how can people find you and your companies? I know you're in the UK. And second of all, what do you want to leave for the audience?
I would say, we're on the cusp of some massive changes. Since the pandemic and everything, a lot of people were thrown into disarray, chaos. Some people still haven't recovered from it mentally.
No question, without
You
question.
know? But what I would like to say is that there are some very positive, life-affirming things coming up. And I would definitely tell people to check out Keep Fit Kingdom.
Absolutely.
And look at the 3-3 breathing method.
I saw that too. I saw
Yeah,
that.
because that teaches you a secret key, which is so simple and easy that you can apply it to a child as young as 5 or to elderly people as old as 85.
Right.
And they will be able to reduce their stress, anxiety by 50 to 60% in 3 minutes or less. It's pretty significant. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I really appreciate your time. I would love to have a follow-up about this as well too, because I think we've only scratched the surface of all the accomplishments that you've had
thank
and
you.
all the great things that you're doing. Because being able to actually take care of your body, people will take care of their car, the leaky pipe in the house, and then go not take care of themselves, right? Or they'll just do that tomorrow. And I think that this kind of resets and makes people take kind of a bird's eye view, so to speak, on these are the simple steps that you can take care of you. Because ultimately,
Absolutely.
you're stuck in your body the rest of your life. You really are.
Such a good point. Yeah, such a
You
good
ain't
point.
going anywhere.
That's
So I appreciate you, Raj Khedun. This is Rashad at the T.R.O.N podcast. The randomness of nothing. All of these guests, including the gentleman here right across from UK, I am very thankful for your presence, and I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Thank you for being on here.
Thank you so much. Take care. Peace out.
You too.